Sometimes we get important people on the show, John.
Thank goodness this is the one time.
This isn't one of those times.
No,
is
no.
it?
It's not. I think it is. We have the mayor of Bend, Jim Clinton, on. Happy to have you here, Jim.
Thank you.
What is going on in the world
You're
of
pretty
Jim
excited
right now?
too, aren't you?
I know.
To be here?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hardly ever get to do this sort of thing.
All right, good.
Because we have kind of a quaint thing in Bend where the council chooses the mayor. And so the people don't choose the mayor, so the people are not that interested in who is the mayor.
How's that working out for you?
I like it. It's an interesting challenge. Of course, I've been on the city council now. This was my third term, so I pretty much know what's going on, how the thing works. But now being mayor, I have a little more of a chance to kind of get in the middle of more issues that are important to people.
Did you want to be mayor? I mean, when you had to make some friends with city council, at least, even if the people aren't voting you
One
in.
has to really want to be mayor because you have to convince your colleagues that you're the best person for it. And in this case, there were two other people who also wanted to be mayor. So we had to have a lot of discussions, about who the actual person was going to be.
What do you think tipped the scales for you?
A lot of people, without even my soliciting anybody, wrote emails and called the other councilors and wanted me to be mayor.
Well, what is it about you? Are you like a mediator? Are you a doer?
I think kind of my scientific and rational, reasoned approach to stuff kind of appeals to people. And I don't make people angry like some other people in this kind of role often do. And so, each subsequent election that I participated in, I got more votes than the previous one. So unlike most people who kind of seem to make decisions that make people angry, so the longer they stay in this kind of thing, their popularity goes down and down. That hasn't happened to me. To me, it's kind of puzzling because I'm basically sort of a lab scientist, certainly not a public person.
And not
so,
really
so it's kind
a fiery
of
guy.
odd.
Not really a fiery guy.
Well, that's just what you see on the outside. You don't
Yeah.
know what's going on in the
inside,
inside.
It's a churning
So far, we haven't seen
incubation.
it.
A lot of anger. A
lava.
lot of anger.
It might
yeah.
come up in this interview. We'll see.
I'll keep pushing.
Yeah, keep pushing buttons. Go, go, go. Well, what do you like about being mayor?
Well, it's interesting. The running of the city council meetings is kind of our thing. And of course, one councilor in the minority, which I have been in previous cases lots of times, doesn't really make a bit of difference. But it's the four people who can come together and vote the same way that make a difference. So kind of working with the colleagues I have and getting us to kind of understand or look at the issues sort of in the same way, that's an interesting challenge. And
Are you ever the sole person out there who says, my goodness, what am I going to have to do to get these others on my side?
Well, before I was mayor in the last term, the city's water project was a huge problem for me. And so the votes over and over and over were 6-1, with me being the one against it. And so I was never able to get in, not even one colleague on the same wavelength. But that's kind of the strength of the system, we have 7 of us and it takes 4, and so if there's one guy who's an outlier, then that's just the way it is. That's okay.
So what have you changed in your strategy to start forging a majority?
Well, new people are on the city council, so that helps a lot.
Later, old city councilors, my way or the highway. So you do have a little bit of fire.
So there's
in you
always there's some turnover, and things kind of oscillate between more conservative kind of people and more progressive kind of people. And in the last election, more progressive kind of people got elected. And then after we see how many mistakes we make as a progressive majority, then the conservatives can come back into office in the next election. So that's kind of the pattern here in Bend. And it's not a partisan thing. There's no Democrats and Republican kind of way of looking at city issues, really. But definitely
more of a liberal conservative split?
It evolves it into more people who are more interested in using the city to kind of make forward progress on a lot of things, and the people who think the city must restrict itself to just running the fire and police department, fixing the roads. Everything else is kind of fluff.
Where are you?
I think the city should be a partner with all the other businesses and organizations and people in town are trying to make some progress, make this a better city. We shouldn't have to take the lead on everything, but we should be a good partner. And we should have some kind of a vision for, or help develop a vision for what kind of city we want this to be.
Jim, when did you move to Bend?
1995.
From where?
I grew up in Eastern Oregon, but I spent a lot of time went to graduate school in San Diego and stayed there and started my own high-tech company, did a lot of research, government contracts, that kind of stuff. And then the urban
Top
scene.
secret stuff.
Yeah.
Can't talk about
Very little of that, my idea. It's not fun if you can't talk about what you're doing.
it. Well, get this. When we come back, we've got some questions from real people on the street.
That's what
in
we like,
Bend.
real people,
Yeah,
as
not
opposed to
fake people.
artificial people.
We'll
Yep.
see whether or not you continue to agree with that when we come back.
Okay, sounds good.